Excuse me, JBL, this is video. How long did it take you to get this shirt?
20 years.
20? Why did it take
somehow
so
the young lady got one for free in one day. I don't know how that happened. 20 years. My other shirt, which I've taken a picture on 7 different continents with that Briscoe Brothers shirt, you can actually see through it. It's so old and worn.
This is the Dan Severn seminar going on right now.
You hit almost too much of a straight line. Warm up. I'll show off too much. Put your head back. There you go.
Just do it when he asks me to.
There you go. You got it. Okay, quick question now to you is, when's the last time you stood on your head?
That's a great question.
Well, okay.
What's your name?
My name is Eric.
And Eric, tell us about the National Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame here.
First time here. It's been a real treat. Seen all the legends, Bill Apter included. And I'm coming back again next year for sure. These are my friends, Chad. He's been here every single one.
I'm Patrick, first time here.
Tell us your impressions of the place.
Love it. I'm definitely coming back next year.
All right, let's swing around here. This gentleman.
That might be first time here, but toting a belt and stuff like that right here, I'd say he's a long-time fan. So
Tell us about your experience here, Dan.
well, you know, first time here though.
Yes.
Okay, it's
Me
my
too.
first time here, but that was actually at the other location when it was once located in Newton,
Yes.
Iowa. So. I'm actually sharing this kind of like the first time again with my son David here. So it's his first time here, so he's getting a chance to see both wings of professional wrestling and the amateur wrestling portion. So he's getting to see a lot of cool things and he's meeting a lot of cool people.
Thank you, Dan.
Well, when Lou and I became involved, it was not in Waterloo, it was in Newton. And it was the brainchild of Mike Chapman to combine the worlds of Dan Gable and Lou Thesz. Lou was absolutely honored because Dan Gable was his hero. It was a wonderful idea and came to fruition in Newton and was moved to Waterloo, which was the seat of wrestling culture as far as Lou was concerned. And actually in Waterloo is the original building, the President's Hotel, where the NWA was formed. So Waterloo was the natural home for it. After Lou died, the only part of wrestling I keep is this museum. It was his passion, it was his pride and joy, and it lets me come every year, sometimes 2 years, twice a year, and visit Lou. It's wonderful.
Hi, I'm Kyle Klingman. I'm the director of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Dan Gable Museum. Honored to be on OneWrestling.com. I'm actually sitting in the library of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Dan Gable Museum. It's called the Dean Rockwell Library, and this is just hours after our George Tragos Lou Thesz Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame inductions, the 14th annual, and what an honor to have such a great induction class. And the person behind the camera was a member of our Hall of Fame induction class, Bill Apter. He won the Jim Melby Award, and when we announced that Bill Apter was going to get the Jim Melby Award, I would say the pop we got from that was equal to anyone that we had on the induction class.
Thank you so very much.
It was pretty special, and a lot of people actually just wanted to meet Bill Apter, and I saw the autograph lines, and his was as long as anyone else. So it was fun to have him here, and he's a great karaoke singer. I didn't get to see it, but it was a good time. So this museum is special because we have the combination of amateur wrestling and professional wrestling in one facility. For those of you who don't know about Dan Gable is from Waterloo, Iowa. This facility is in Waterloo, Iowa, and Dan Gable is the greatest coach and athlete ever. I mean, to me, it's not even disputable. 40 years ago in 1972, he won the Olympic Games without surrendering a single point at 149.5 pounds. He went 6-0. Didn't give up a point over 22 matches, including the Olympic Games and the Olympic trials. He gave up 1 point, and then he went on to a distinguished career at the University of Iowa as the head wrestling coach. 21 seasons as the head wrestling coach, 15 NCAA championships, 21 consecutive Big Ten titles. Greatest combination of athlete and coach ever. So we have a great area as you come in the museum on Dan Gable. We have a history of the sport from Jacob wrestling the Angel of the Lord to Abraham Lincoln to the Epic of Gilgamesh. We cover the history, And then you go into the area of the professional wrestling area, the George Tragos Thesz professional wrestling area. And pretty special because you have that combination of Dan Gable and the Olympics and the NCAA tournament, followed by the professional. And a lot of people wonder why we have it here, and we say it's really that combination of everything, because the sport did evolve. It was a legitimate sporting contest in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It evolved into the entertainment we see today, and we love both equally. It's a great part of what we do in the museum. And we also have a Dan Gable Teaching Center, and it's a full mat with stands for people to come and watch. You have training seminars and clinics. So this is a museum.
Actually, Dan Severin did one here this weekend.
Dan Severin did a mixed martial arts seminar in the Dan Gable Teaching Center. So that was fun to have him do an hour-long seminar. And it makes us unique from any other sports museum in that we honor the past and then we cultivate the future. So that's a great part of what we're able to do. So yesterday's festivities were great. We had the seminar, we had the Q&A hosted by Bill Apter. Had great comments about that. We talked about the legendary Dan Hodge and his career. And if you don't know about Dan Hodge, find a way to find out more about this guy. 3-time NCAA champion at the University of Oklahoma, 46-0, 36 pins. Golden Gloves boxing champion, only amateur wrestler on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I know Hulk Hogan was also on the cover of Sports Illustrated, but a remarkable guy, and everyone in the business has a story about this guy, whether it's feats of strength or getting tortured by him at some point. Dan Hodge is probably the toughest human being that I've ever known or experienced. So it was an honor to have this induction ceremony.
Kyle, a lot of people have asked me, they said, why Waterloo, Iowa? Why isn't this somewhere like in New York or Las Vegas or, with all the great traffic?
Simple answer is Dan Gable. This is the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Dan Gable Museum. Dan Gable is from Waterloo, Iowa. And because of his credentials and what he means to the state of Iowa, it made sense to bring something here to Waterloo, Iowa, and honor his legacy. Sports Illustrated in 2000 named him the top sports figure in the state of Iowa, an icon, and there had really been nothing done up to that point. Now they have 3 statues. They have a museum named in his honor, but this was really the first step to getting the recognition that Dan Gable deserves. So this is, to me, the wrestling capital of the world. Not only Dan Gable, but there's been other great wrestlers who have come off and had successful careers as athletes and coach. There's been 8 NCAA champions come from West Waterloo High School. That's a remarkable run that those guys had at West Waterloo High School. There have been great coaches that have come out of here, gone on to NCAA championships.
Well, also Waterloo is famous for the inception, actually the beginning of a very famous wrestling company.
That's right. It's called the NWA, National Wrestling Alliance. And right down the road, 2 blocks away, is where the NWA was formed, in the President's Hotel. It's no longer the President's Hotel. It's now an apartment complex. But to think of the history, and then where we had the banquet last night for the Tragos Thesz Hall of Fame inductions, that is the spot where, in 1909, Frank Gotch wrestled Dan McLeod. So a lot of history here. So love the pro history and the amateur. That's why we're the wrestling capital of the world. And
what a tag team!
Yeah, I mean we're the Capitol building for the wrestling capital of the world.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.